Great. Welcome to the Teaming Up Show, the Dylan Show this week. Woo! The Standing Up Dylan Show.
Yep, energy's hot.
So it is hot. It is kind of hot in here.
Yeah, it is.
It's like we're in a sauna, all these lights just on us. Anyways, Nate can't. He's trying not to laugh back there. Okay, so we talked about you being a successful agent at such a young age, in your fourth year of business, and then we said that you did 50 transactions last year. What are you going to do? How does someone that did 50 transactions, how are you going to get to 100? Because you were just kind of saying behind the video, you're saying, well, probably from 10 to 50 is probably almost, and that's hard, right? Mm-hmm. So yep. 50 to 100 is hard, but I mean, how are you going to do that? How are you going to get from 50 to 100?
The biggest thing here is, 100 that's a lot of houses. And there's also a lot of...
It's almost 2 a week.
Yeah, and there's also been a lot of realtors that have done that successfully.
Yeah,
so I think the biggest thing is kind of planning out based on what I want, my goals, my systems, how can I model other agents that have done that?
Right.
And to your point, my first year in the business, I sold 10 houses, and it was a lot of effort. And last year I sold 50.
Right.
And the amount of
Which one was harder? I mean, no, not which one's harder. How much effort was the effort difference? How much effort difference was it between the two?
I think it was pretty equivalent.
Is that true? That doesn't sound real.
From honestly, at the time being 20 years old, trying to make this happen, putting that much emotional and mental energy into
something
what I was doing.
Something brand new. So you were not only you're working to earn, you're working to learn in that
I think
first year.
It was probably a different type of effort, different type of energy. But I think if you encompass that in who I was at that time compared to who I was last year, I would say they're equivalent. I definitely think the person that was selling my first year in the business versus fourth year in the business, they're also a different type of person. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm still me, but I think in that category,
I get it. And that's, you're right.
I don't think I can really discount somebody who's worked really, really hard to sell 10 houses in the year because I understand what it's like to.
No, I would not either. I would not either. When I see someone doing 100 transactions, even though we're 300 plus. I'm like, wow. I mean, I would literally feel that way because I know, just like what you just said, I feel from your 50 to 100, there's probably different habits that you have from 50 to 100, right?
Sure.
There's a lot of different habits between 150 to 300, right? Or there's different habits from 10 to 50.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you still only have so many hours in a day.
Right.
And
I mean, just like yourself, you have a very successful team and you get as many hours as I do.
Yeah.
So to think that
Warren Buffett gets as many hours as someone who is the best investors in the world, and why is he the best? He doesn't have 10,000 more hours than you had, you know.
Yeah, I think
he did. He did start. I mean, he started at a young age, compound interest.
I feel the biggest thing from 10 to 50 units over a period of 4 years, it's at the time it seemed that the energy and the effort was the same. Things were different. Yes. Mm-hmm. So what I have to do now is model forward and see who has done this ahead of me and understand it's a journey to get there. It's just not going to happen overnight.
Yep.
And as you said earlier in the last video, continuing to build habits and kind of have some intro perspective on the things I'm doing and the person I am becoming to essentially acquire that level of business. So obviously I haven't done it.
Right.
So I'm just kind of forward projecting here to go from 50 units to 100 units. Is this going to be a refinement of what I'm already doing and maybe implementing some different things, as well as probably a couple key hires.
Right.
Because for me to sell 100 houses all by myself.
No. You're right.
That's a lot of time. I like to sleep,
My mind is stalling a little bit because I kind of wanted to throw you a little bit of a curveball. That's not kind of what we were going to talk about, or it is in the same vein, but. What I hear a lot of people say, I hear this over and over and over. I don't even want to do 100 transactions. What do you say? Why do you even want to do 100 transactions?
Why do I want to do 100 transactions?
Yeah. Versus 50.
I think the more properties I'm able to sell, the more opportunity I'm going to be able to also provide for myself as well as for other people that are going to belong to the organization.
Yep.
So it's kind of like more of a visionist idea.
Right.
I don't need to sell 100 houses. I don't need the monetary value of selling 100 houses.
Right.
For me, it's more of a goal. And since I'm doing this, why not just do it at such a high level?
Right.
And if that can also help more people out and provide opportunity, then I feel an obligation to do that.
I think it's, I mean, I go back and forth on this. The reality of this comment that I'm going to say is that I think it might be, there's a certain level where doing more is, I don't know if it's easier. You have different problems when you're doing 200 versus you're doing 50. But there is a problem. What I've seen a lot of agents struggle with is when they're at a lower amount, say it's 30 units, say it's 20 or 40 or units. If you're in that level, well, say you hire someone. Well, they say that you're at 30 units for the next 3 years. Well, most likely if that person is an extremely talented person, they're not going to want to stay there. So it gets harder staying at 30 units than it would be if you were at 130 units. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not growing. They're not having more opportunities. There's not more people working together that create more awesome products, more awesome experiences. So there's a level. I hear people say, I just want to make X. I want to make X and then I'm good. And they say, I want to sell this many houses because I'll make this and then I'll be good. Well, I'm like, if you sell that many, you're going to need someone. Okay, if you need someone, what's their life going to look like? I'm not saying day one, their life, they'll be new in the organization, but is year 2, year 3, year 4, how are they going to ever have the more experiences? So I almost think it's harder. I really believe that. I think it's harder staying at 30 transactions. Just like you right now, you're at 50 transactions. Mm-hmm. You're going to be doing a lot of different things. Versus, think if you had the best person on the planet in your organization that did all your administrative work.
That'll be great. Make my life really simple.
But I mean, would it be harder to be 50 by yourself or 150 with 2 people?
Well, I even look at like last year when I had an assistant last year for half of the year, and when I had her, it seemed like my job and my focus was much more simpler because things were taken off my plate, and I had more fun because I spent more time doing things I was good at and things that I liked doing.
Right.
So because of that, it seemed like I was getting a lot more lenience to have fun with what I was doing. I didn't have to worry about these other things that I wasn't particularly too fond of or the best at.
Right.
And that person loved doing those things and was really good at doing that.
Right.
So I think
you're not wearing 20 hats and being good at one maybe, and then the other 19 you're just failing forward, and it's not fun.
Yeah. So if one thing here, it's again it was easier to do more because I had such more of a focus on what to do.
Right.
I was just focusing on the few things.
Because you were living in your strength zone, though.
That's right.
You were really good at talking on the phone, caring about people, helping them find houses, helping them sell houses, and you're super focused. And when you can just live in that.
Yep. That's fun. That's a fun place to be.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun place to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you said...
well, back to your point here, too, of how some people, they get into a position where they're comfortable doing 30 units a year, and how you say that kind of seems more taxing than anything.
Yeah.
I also believe a person who is in that mind frame of, hey, I'm happy doing this, I'm on a business, that's great, good for them.
Yeah, no, good for them.
I also think that's a different kind of person than maybe you and myself, where we're more visionists, so it's hard just to live right where we are and probably ever be happy where we are, because we're always thinking, okay, how can we go do more? How can we be better? How can we impact more lives? And I think people that are natured like that, you always have to have, you're the type of person who's always going to be forward thought. Again, not discounting somebody who's content doing 30 transactions
and that's
a year.
why I'm glad you said that.
Just a different kind of person. I
never say someone doing 30 transaction, oh my goodness, like even judge in any way. Zero. I'm like, you're happy. I hear so many people think that they're going to be happier at that, and it's not necessarily the case. And we just said it, like it's not necessarily more work. It actually might be less work doing more transactions. Because you just said it. You love what you're doing every single day because you're doing more and more of what you like to do. Mm-hmm. And you're doing less and less of the things that you don't like to do.
Yeah, that's fun.
that seems a lot more funner.
Seems a lot like
fun. So that would say to me it'd be a lot easier doing more transactions, just as long as what you're doing when you're doing more transactions is you keep enjoying what the next job is, or if your job stays the same and everyone else does the stuff around, right?
I would think so, yeah. You've done it. I quite haven't yet.
Well, I mean, you have. You've tasted it and you've seen it, and you've seen what other people have done. So, I mean, it's good. It's good to hear. You said that because we'll just flip a little bit. Mm-hmm. I asked you, like, what are you going to do to be able to get from 50 to 100 this year? And you said, I'm just going to surround myself with successful people, which I think you do. I mean, you're hanging out.
Yeah, we're here.
We're here. We are hanging out. But that's kind of a very big picture, and I live in that. Like, so I totally get what you're saying. Totally get it, and that's probably where I would end it. But maybe a lot of people would want to understand a little bit more granular because what are you going to do different? Are you going to need to do anything different to be able to go from 50 to 100?
There's going to have to be some changes.
What
as
do,
well
what,
as
what
myself
do you think? What do you
personally,
think
too.
those look? What do you think those look like?
I think it's going to be more refinement of habits
Mm-hmm.
and lead generation.
Like what? Like just more focused?
I'm going
or-
to say when you're, more focused with the time you have at hand. The
Okay.
more efficient, the more productive I can be in a certain amount of hour times, the more beneficial everything is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to be on the phones from 8 to 11 every morning, how can I put myself in the best situation so that I'm making more contacts and or a combination of more quality contacts in that amount of time?
Okay.
If I'm going to be spending time from noon to 2 doing more administrative tasks, what can I do to surround myself with things that are going to be very systematic so it makes the process easier? And how can I also eliminate distractions like getting on Facebook or browsing on the MLS for no reason?
So those all sound like great things, but how are you going to do it?
I think it's going
How,
to
no. How are you going to do it? Not you think. Like, how are you going to do it? Like, how are you going to do it? Because it's hard to change habits.
It's
If
just,
we're talking real here,
it's
a
going to
lot
have
of people
to be
say
just
I'm going to
discipline.
do this and they just don't, or they get, so what are you going? Because I've seen you go over obstacle after obstacle,
Yeah.
so you're going to have to say like, I'm not
It's
think
gonna-
that I'm
it
going to do
just-
this.
it's-
This is what it's going to look like.
I'll need to get more disciplined in what I'm doing, and just have
How are
that
you going to do
mindset.
that though? How are you going to do that?
Read more books would be good. Again, surrounding myself with like-minded people that
Mhm.
are drivers and people that are supporters. That's going to be really essential. And what I'm going to also need to do is tie into my vision every single day of what I'm doing. Why
And
am I
why
doing
you're
this?
doing
Why
it.
it's important.
Why it's important.
Because I know for myself, the days that I get down on myself, it's usually because I'm not focused on the higher outcome, past what the task is. Oh, this task is boring. Well, what's the purpose behind doing this? And
I heard
constantly
I
reminding
heard someone
myself.
say suffering is the obsessive focus on self. So suffering is the obsessive focus on self. So when you're focused on someone else, like
Okay.
meaning that you're going to be building this business
Yep.
and you're going to be doing it to help other people, you will suffer less because you won't be focusing on yourself. The day when you're suffering the most and you're feeling like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing or whatever, you're focusing 100% on yourself. So the day when you're thinking like I'm going to build this person up, I'm going to build this person, I'm doing these calls for this person, you can't suffer. You can't have those bad days because you
Sure. Well, it ties into how we're more apt to do something for somebody else than
Right.
ourselves.
Right.
Well, that definitely, yeah.
Interesting.
I'm not quite sure how to fully answer your question.
No. I appreciate that.
I'm just really thinking what I'm going to
I don't
need to
think.
do.
I think if you could just answer it, that's what I think. We're talking here is I don't think
Yeah.
you can just answer it. I think someone can, but that doesn't mean anything.
Sure.
I can answer any question. Are you going to do it? I can tell you how to have six-pack abs. I can tell you how. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you.
Yeah.
Eat vegetables, drink water, do a lot of sit-ups. Don't do anything else. You'll have six-pack abs.
Yeah,
Well, everyone
sure.
knows that. Then why do so few people have six-pack abs? I don't know.
So if you want to get back to more the granular things of what it's going to take to go from 50 to 100,
Right.
it's going to revolve a lot of myself and becoming more disciplined in what I need to do. So the things I know I can take home right now is, let's just maybe spend a little bit more time reading, a little bit more time self-reflecting, and again, tying that
Building
vision
that
into what I'm
habit.
doing.
Building that habit, and then
Yeah.
eventually it'll become something that will bring you to the next level.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
Interesting. Okay, well, Dylan, another episode. Maybe we'll do one more. I don't know. We'll see. This one was a pretty good one.
It's up to you, man.
All right, Dylan.
I'm just here for the ride.
You're
This
just
is
here.
fun.
That was your show this time, right? So,
Yeah.
thanks for coming by.
Thanks,
We'll see if we have Dylan on again or not.